We make way for the CFL legend, the former NFL quarterback, Sean Salisbury, who joins us on the program.
That's the only time you'll ever use me in the name legend, but I always love it. It always starts with the CFL. Big, huge contributor to the CFL. You're a big believer. I love it.
Don't you owe us your CFL jersey so I could put it up in the man cave?
And not only am I sending the CFL jersey, but you know what I did? I went and had a coffee cup printed with my face on it and the name of my show for you. So you could put it, see right there in front of Bobby Knight.
Oh, I'm not going to do. No,
you're not going to do both.
No, just one. I don't want your face up.
You don't?
No.
After all these years and the love we've shown each other,
and that's not that's Lou
over your
Holt.
right shoulder.
That's Lou Holt. That's Lou Holt.
I'm just looking at the red sweater.
Yeah,
it looks like Bobby Knight. Okay, Lou Holt's Bobby Knight. All right, but okay, the jersey's it. But I thought that maybe you'd like to wake up to me every morning. Out of your own coffee cup.
Paulie will drink out of your coffee cup.
Oh, God, no. Lord, no.
Lord knows what's been in your coffee cup.
Oh, you don't want to know, brother.
All righty.
It's good to be on, man.
First reaction when you heard Patriots and Cam Newton.
Upgrade. The if comes in front of it, too, Dan. You get a guy that no risk, all reward. Up to $7.5 million, so no guarantees, no money involved. He's 31. He's angry, feels disrespected. When you drawing up a quarterback and say, I'd really like him to look like that. That's who you draw up, Cam Newton. So the question is, how does he fit in? Josh McDaniels' challenge now is that for 20 years, that system, and Josh over the last handful of years has had one guy, Brady, and that system's only seen drop back. Now the challenge, and it's kind of a good one that you get to add some things that Brady didn't bring. So what Tom lacked in, you get in Cam. So, Dan, I don't know the risk. This is a guy that's a $25 million talent that you're getting for the price you'd pay a guy who's just a guy. And he's not just a guy. I think it's an upgrade. And if Cam Newton's healthy and he processes information quickly, this will be the best, or should I say the most underrated offseason move of the year. That's how good he can be. The question is, will he?
And you go back to what Carolina did, and they smartly put in the language that Cam had at Auburn, just to make it, because you come in as a rookie and you know this, they throw everything at you, and you're just trying to simplify things. Now he goes to New England, where they haven't catered anything to him. It was a Tom Brady system, and I'm curious, how do you change your offense? Maybe they were changing with Stidham in there in the first place, so maybe it's not that much of a shift, but explain that to us on what that's going to feel like and what's their offense going to look like.
The base of their verbiage, Dan's going to stay the same. And that's why, you know how sometimes change gets people rejuvenated? Like Cam, a change to New England, which is an upgrade, like I said. He may not be Brady, but he's really talented. Is what happens is it's like an addendum to a contract. You're going to do what you do base-wise, but we're going to add things. And we're at the time, I'm so tired of the coaching staffs that say, you're going to do it my way, or it's just not going to work here. Look what Andy Reid did. He took some of what Kingsbury did, utilized some of Pat's skills in college, applied to what he does, and said, well, why wouldn't we cater and make things where this guy's comfortable? Look what Baltimore did and Lamar Jackson. He's the MVP of the league. So it's going to be incumbent upon Josh McDaniels and Belichick to say, okay, here's what we do. But you know what? For smart purposes, 2020 has also been different with no off seasons. Let's just make things a little simpler and add some packages for him to get him on the edge. What is he comfortable with? The verbiage doesn't have to be where it's with 4 sentences long like the old West Coast offense. So now it's a challenge on the coach. I love coaches that are willing to say, well, let's take 12 coaches and adjust to 53 or 56 or 60 players as opposed to the other way around. So the challenge now falls on Belichick and Belichick to let McDaniels know, listen, we've got a freak show skill set here. Let's utilize what he does, not square peg, round hole. He's not going to be as accurate as Brady. He's going to give you more vertical, create plays outside the pocket, mix in a little RPO, downhill inside zone run. And if he can give me 60 to 62%, but make the big play that maybe Tom's not at that point of making now, you get an upgrade with the legs than you do with the arm, but you also get a young guy still at 31 who's still got, sometimes this is where you get your best football in your early 30s. So the challenge is for both, but go into this, take the ego out of it, like Baltimore, like Kansas City, and cater to the guy's skill set. Doesn't mean you change everything, but you do need to change some things to operate out of what he does and You're not going to make Tom Brady run the option, and you're not going to make Cam Newton be Tom Brady. You're replacing the GOAT. Big shoes, but Cam's got big shoes. He's going to be fine.
I was wondering, I thought the Chargers were going to sign Cam Newton. I thought they would do that unless they're totally sold on Justin Herbert, or they took him as the consolation prize that you didn't get Tua, so we'll take Justin Herbert. That's not how you decide on a quarterback, in my opinion. You know the guy you want, and you go after the guy you want. If Tua had fallen to them, would they have just said, all right, we'll take Tua? I don't know that. I don't know what that philosophy is in the draft room, but I thought if I could get Cam in there, it's Los Angeles, and let him go with a lot of those weapons, I thought that was the route to take because quarterbacks are about now. Got to win now. That's a roster that's built to win now. Justin Herbert might not be ready for a couple of years. Tyrod Taylor's okay. Cam, that would have been rolling the dice to say, you know what? How about we take over Los Angeles here?
Oh, no doubt. And Dan, to answer your first question about Tua, had the Chargers been able to get him instead of Miami, it wouldn't be like Herbert. Herbert's going to sit. Tyrod Taylor would have been the backup, and Tua would have started from day one. That would have been the case in L.A. had Tua been the guy as opposed to Herbert. Now, with this situation, I don't think I think people were concerned about how healthy is Cam. It's early in the process. The draft. Tyrod Taylor's a guy who protects the football, plays it safe, and you've got a lot of other talent around him, so he can kind of fit in. People everywhere, any coach you talk to, they trust him. You may not get spectacular, but he's not going to crush you, which you don't want your quarterback to do. With Cam, or the risk, man, boy, that's the high reward. But we got a guy like Cam who's athletic, who protects the ball, probably a little more accurate, is going to protect the ball more, and he can be a good bridge. Because Cam still thinks he's a full-time starter for the next 6 years. Tyrod has been in this situation many times. Cam has not. This is the first time in his career where he's going to be, well, he's still going to be the starter in New England, where he would have went into this situation where Tyrod is like DeBerg, Dan, where you'd keep drafting guys and he'd be good for you, and then he'd have a good season and maybe even a Pro Bowl type season, but you'd replace him with the next guy. And what it tells me is it's more of a compliment to Tyrod Taylor and their trust for him, and they're not knowing where the Cam Newton health situation was, and if Cam could handle maybe being a backup if it didn't turn out. He's not going to have to deal with that. Stidham's going to have to be the guy to beat out Cam, and in L.A., it's just a matter of time. And Tyrod Taylor will determine how long he holds that job or if he's playing somewhere else, because Herbert is not ready to start.
Football-wise, and I know you can't separate it, who's more of a risk, Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick?
Colin Kaepernick is now. I think Kaepernick should get a chance if he can go in and do a workout. And the key for Colin, does he love football still, Dan? Listen, I made football look hard. And that's playing every year. Think about the guy who's been out 4 years, Now he's far more gifted. But my point is, and I was talking to Warren Moon about this very thing, the dedication it takes, Dan, to be those guys that are so good, that sustain greatness. Do you want to be a guy or do you want to be the guy? And so that's what Colin's got to decide. I don't think his skill set's to the point where it just doesn't exist. He's physical. He's strong. He can rip it. The question is, does he want to put the time in? And does he feel he can with all the off-the-field stuff that he's doing, activism? Does he want to devote himself to being great and being the guy? Because after 4 years off, you better be devoted to it. And there's less risk in Cam because he's physically past a physical. He played it sometimes last year. So he's been around football more. So to me, while Colin's so tempting because of his skill set, I don't know where for 4 years, Dan, all we see is a video of him throwing on a field. We don't know. Yeah. And I want to hear from him. I always hear everybody telling me how good he can be and that he should be playing. And I get it. He should and deserve an opportunity to compete. But I don't know where his head is do I love it? Am I willing to study at 10 o'clock at night, 6 days a week to be great? Or do I just want to be a guy who makes a roster? That's up for him to decide. But right now, much higher risk with Colin, just as a football thing, because Cam's been in the league recently. And remember now, we're looking at a guy who is an MVP, who's been an MVP, and he's only 31. And he's pissed. That could mean something for the New England Patriots.
You know your longest career run in the NFL?
Under 20 yards, but over 10?
11 yards.
Dude, you cannot. Hey, listen, don't coach that out of me. You can't coach 11-yard runs.
Your longest run in the CFL, 15
9 yards.
15 yards.
Nice. Legend.
Blue Bomber. Blue Bomber.
Yes. 88 Grey Cup champions. And you know what else, Dan? One thing they never did when they signed me, when they worked me out, said, Sean, get on the edge. They never ever said that. Not one time.
You didn't have the R in RPO, right?
No, they did not. They said, Sean, does that hat fit you well? And can you chart? That's what they said.
How much thought did you give into how you looked on the sidelines when you were a backup quarterback?
Are you kidding me? Wristbands were perfect. I licked my fingers walking up and down the sidelines just to know I was ready. The eye black had to be adjusted. Hey, how's it look, man? Am I good? The hat, which hat's right? Then the long mullet I had, Dan, it was dangling out of the back of my hair, out of helmet. I had to think, well, what's that look like right now while Madden's talking about Warren Moon on the field and I'm charting plays and telling Warren how great he is? You're damn right I wanted it to look good, okay? You're damn right.
It's good to talk to you as always.
Great to talk to you, brother.
Thanks.
You,
man.
Have a good one.
That's Sean Salisbury, Sports Talk 790 in Houston, does the Morning Drive show, and then a former NFL quarterback, and certainly a friend of the show.